work on projects in almost every single sector, in almost every single line of business. We have some experience. And one of the things we've been getting into, I'd say the past 4 or 5 years, is the mobile space. Now, most of us, myself included, spend a lot of time on our mobile devices. These things have become absolutely ubiquitous. And in the business world, that's absolutely true. There's 2 mistakes that I see most companies go with when they try to do mobile app development. The first is that they assume whatever someone is doing on their desktop computer is exactly the same as what they're going to be doing on their mobile device. And frankly, that's just not true. When you're using a mobile device, it's because you're doing a subset of the functionality that you would be doing on your desktop environment, and you're doing it, as mobile implies, in a non-standard environment. You probably don't have a big table with a nice keyboard with multiple monitors. So it's a mistake to assume that you need to have a one-for-one functionality between your desktop and your mobile applications. The second is that because you're working in a mobile environment, there's certain things about that environment that are not true in an office. For instance, lighting. One of the mistakes I see people make all the time is they assume that someone will always have great lighting on their mobile device. They don't take into account the fact that the sun exists and is out there and will be glaring on the screen. So if you don't do usability testing, if you don't do accessibility testing, you're really setting yourself up for failure. And the other big mistake that people make when they don't do proper mobile testing, they don't check what their internet connectivity is like. We knew of a client that was developing software. They spent a lot of time, a lot of resources developing the mobile software, and they never took into account the fact that when someone is using it, they're going to be using it in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. And as you can imagine, 3G, 4G, 5G in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, it's like 0G there. There's absolutely no internet connectivity. And if your software relies upon constantly being connected to the internet, it's not going to work too well. One of the more interesting projects that we have actually had the opportunity to work on is a project where they go into the Amazon rainforest and record the languages of indigenous tribes. You want to talk about an interesting mobile and offline use case? If you're going to be successful in the Amazon rainforest, you have to account for the fact that there ain't going to be no internet connectivity. So to summarize, the 2 big challenges that people have when developing mobile apps, assuming that you need to do everything on the desktop that you do on the mobile, which is not true, and not doing proper testing in the field of how someone is actually going to be using this application.